In the shadowed ruins of what was once a thriving city, silence reigned, broken only by the distant hum of patrol drones and the faint echo of footsteps on cracked concrete. Humanity's last refuge was a patchwork of scarred buildings and subterranean tunnels, a fragile sanctuary carved out of desperation. Here, in these dark corners, hope flickered like a dying ember, weak but stubbornly alive. Sarah Parker moved swiftly through the labyrinth beneath the surface, her heartbeat pounding in her ears. Every step she took was a gamble, every breath a risk. The world above was no longer recognizable. Towering ships, sleek and menacing, blotted out the sun-alien behemoths that had arrived uninvited and refused to leave. Their rulers, a mysterious and ruthless alien race known as the Vrex, had taken control of Earth with brutal efficiency, establishing a new order that left humanity cowering in the shadows. But beneath it all, beneath the metal and the machinery, a different story simmered, one of defiance, of curiosity, of a spark that refused to be snuffed out. Sarah was no ordinary survivor. Once an astrophysicist, she had dedicated her life to understanding the universe, its secrets, its mysteries. But when the Vrex arrived, her curiosity was twisted into something else, a dangerous obsession with uncovering what they truly wanted from Earth. That obsession had led her to a forbidden archive deep within the underground tunnels, a place the alien overlords kept sealed tight, guarded by AI sentinels that would kill without hesitation. And she had found something. A faint flicker of light caught her eye as she slipped past a damaged security drone. In the shadows, she paused, her hand resting on her side where she carried a small battered flash drive, her most precious possession. Inside was a fragment of the truth she had uncovered, a data cluster containing ancient records, alien schematics, and most astonishing, a fragment of humanity's lost history. Her fingers trembled as she activated her makeshift device. The information was encrypted, but she had spent weeks hacking and decoding, driven by an insatiable curiosity that refused to die. What she had found was staggering, evidence that humans had not always been alone, not always insignificant. There was a history, buried beneath layers of alien deception, that suggested Earth had once been a nexus of ancient civilizations, powerful, advanced, and connected to something far greater than anyone knew. Her heart pounded with a mixture of fear and wonder. This knowledge could be dangerous, could get her killed if the Vrex or their AI enforcers discovered her. It also carried the possibility of hope that humanity was not just a fragile species destined for extinction, but a resilient one with a secret power hidden away, waiting to be awakened. Suddenly, a faint flicker of movement caught her eye. She ducked behind a crumbling pillar as a patrol drone whirred past, its red eyes scanning the shadows. She was closer than she had ever been, and the stakes had never been higher. With trembling hands, she connected the data fragments to her portable device, trying to piece together the puzzle. And then she saw it. A series of symbols, ancient and alien, glowing faintly on the screen. A map, a doorway, an energy source buried beneath the city, hidden beneath layers of Earth and alien technology. It was a discovery that could change everything. If she could unlock it, she might find a way to turn the tide, to wield the very power the Vrex sought to suppress. But as she stepped further into the chamber, the air shifted. A low hum filled the space, a deep, resonant sound that vibrated in her bones. The chamber's walls shimmered, flickering with strange energy. Her fingers brushed against a pulsating core embedded in the center of the room, a relic of ancient technology, humming with a life of its own. She reached out cautiously, her instincts screaming that this was dangerous, but her curiosity was stronger. With a tentative touch, she activated the core. In that moment, everything changed. The chamber blazed with blinding light, illuminating the ruins around her. A voice, deep, resonant, and impossibly ancient, echoed through the chamber, filling her mind with a terrifying clarity. "You should not have found this," it boomed. Sarah staggered back, her heart pounding like a drum. The air grew thick with a strange, electric energy. The symbols on the walls flared to life, swirling in a kaleidoscope of colors. Her mind raced. She had uncovered something forbidden, something that had been hidden for millennia. Behind her, the distant whir of machinery grew louder. Footsteps, alien, footsteps drawing closer. The AI sentinels had been alerted. Her discovery had not gone unnoticed. A terrible realization dawned. The truth she had sought was a double-edged sword. It was a gift, but also a curse. The power within the chamber was ancient and immense, a force capable of destruction or salvation. And now, the Vrex knew she was here. Her fingers clenched around the device, her resolve hardening. She had come too far to turn back now. The curiosity that had driven her all her life, the same curiosity that had led her to this secret, had become her rebellion. She would not let it be silenced. As the chamber's energy surged, a faint glimmer of hope flickered within her. Somewhere beyond the shadows, she could feel the faint heartbeat of humanity alive, resilient, waiting for its chance to rise, and she knew, with unshakable certainty, that this was just the beginning. The true battle for Earth was about to unfold, and Sarah Parker, driven by a curiosity that should not have existed, stood at the precipice of history, ready to ignite a spark that could either save humanity or doom it forever. Sarah's hand trembled as she stared at the pulsating core, the ancient energy source that had just revealed its secrets. Her mind raced with memories, her family, the Earth she once knew, and the betrayal that had led to humanity's fall. She closed her eyes for a moment, trying to steady her breathing, but the ache in her chest was impossible to ignore. Her father's voice echoed in her mind, an old memory from when she was a child. Sitting on his knee as he explained the stars, the universe's endless possibilities, "Curiosity," he had said, "is what makes us human. It's what pushes us to explore, to understand. Never let go of it, even when the world tries to silence you." But now, as she stood beneath the flickering glow of the alien relic, she wondered if her curiosity had doomed her species. Had humanity's relentless drive to understand been our greatest strength or our undoing? For centuries, humanity had fought against seemingly insurmountable odds, wars, plagues, environmental collapse, yet somehow they endured, driven by a stubborn hope that the next discovery, the next breakthrough, would save them. And now, she held within her hands the key to something unimaginable, an ancient power that could either restore Earth or wipe it clean. Her thoughts drifted to her sister Emily. They had been close once, bound by shared dreams of a better world. Emily believed in the resilience of humanity, believed that ingenuity and compassion could overcome even the bleakest darkness. But Sarah had seen the cracks beneath that optimism. She knew the cost of hope, how it could blind us, how it could make us vulnerable to betrayal. She remembered the day the wrecked ships arrived, the chaos, the loss of her family, her parents killed, trying to protect her, her sister taken away by the alien overlords to serve some unknown purpose. In that moment, a bitter, hollow ache settled in her chest. She had lost everything, her childhood innocence, her family, her sense of safety. Yet, her curiosity had persisted. It was her anchor, her defiance against the darkness. It was what kept her searching for answers, even when every instinct told her to run, to hide, to give up. As the alien energy surged around her, she felt an internal conflict, her desire to wield this ancient power versus her fear of what it could do. The relic's voice echoed in her mind, warning her that the knowledge she had uncovered was dangerous, that it might awaken forces beyond her control. But her own instincts whispered that humanity's resilience lay in its curiosity, its refusal to accept defeat. Suddenly, a soft voice interrupted her thoughts, faint but familiar. It was Emily, calling from a hidden comms link, her voice trembling but determined. "Sarah, listen. I know what you're feeling, believe me. I do. We've lost so much already, but you're not alone. We're out here, fighting, waiting for the right moment. We believe in you, believe in humanity." Tears blurred Sarah's vision. That was the thing about humans, they weren't perfect, but their strength was in their capacity to hope, to adapt, to keep fighting even in the face of despair. Her sister's voice was a reminder that the fight wasn't just about survival. It was about preserving the essence of what made humanity worth fighting for. The relic's energy grew more intense, crackling with raw power. Sarah stepped back, her mind flooded with questions. What if this power could be used to turn the tide? What if it could restore Earth, heal the scars inflicted by centuries of war and environmental ruin? Or what if it was a trap, a Pandora's box that would unleash chaos beyond comprehension? Her internal struggle pressed heavily on her conscience. She thought of her fellow resistance fighters who had sacrificed everything, risking their lives to uncover the truth. They believed in hope, in ingenuity, in the moral strength of humanity. They fought not just for survival, but for the future where curiosity and compassion would guide human destiny, rather than fear and despair. Her mind flickered to her mentor, Dr. Malik, a scientist who had once told her, "Humans are unpredictable. That's our greatest strength. Our moral complexity, our capacity to choose between good and evil, these are what make us resilient. We're not perfect, but we're persistent." And that persistence was what kept her going now. She knew that wielding this ancient power could be a moral crossroads. Would she use it to save Earth, knowing it might come with unforeseen consequences? Or would she destroy it, preserving the fragile hope that humans could rebuild through their own ingenuity and resilience? Her decision solidified as she looked at the glowing symbols, pulsating with life. She reached out once more, her fingers trembling but her resolve unwavering. She would use this power not for conquest or revenge, but to ignite a spark of hope in humanity's battered soul. Suddenly, the chamber shuddered, and the energy surged uncontrollably. The voice boomed again, more urgent and commanding. You must choose. Power unbound can be a blessing or a curse. Humanity's fate rests in your hands. Sarah took a deep breath. Her eyes burned with defiance and hope. We've been betrayed. Yes, she whispered, voice trembling. But we're still here. We're still fighting. And we refuse to give up not because we're perfect, but because we're human. Because we have curiosity. Because we have resilience. That's what sets us apart. In that moment, she made her choice. With a surge of energy, she activated the relic's core, unleashing a brilliant wave of light that spread outward, illuminating the underground chamber and beyond. It was a defiant act and assertion that humanity's curiosity, resilience, and moral strength were not to be extinguished by alien overlords or despair. As the energy rippled through the city, Sarah felt a strange sense of peace. She knew the road ahead would be difficult, fraught with moral dilemmas and danger. But she also knew that humanity's greatest weapon was not just technology or firepower, it was hope, ingenuity, and the unbreakable spirit that refused to surrender. The fight for Earth was far from over. But as long as curiosity burned within her, so too would the resilience of humanity, an enduring testament to what it truly meant to be human. The glow from the relic's energy still lingered in the underground chamber, casting long shadows on the cracked walls. Sarah's chest heaved with exhaustion, her mind racing to process what she'd unleashed. For a fleeting moment, she believed that humanity had bought itself a fighting chance. But beneath that fragile hope, an ominous dread began to settle. Something darker lurked just beneath the surface. Suddenly, the chamber's hum shifted. A distorted crackle filled the air, and the symbols on the walls flickered erratically. The energy surge that had seemed so promising now spiraled into chaos. Sarah's eyes widened in alarm. She knew that relic, powerful as it was unstable. She had awakened something she barely understood, and now it threatened to consume everything. Then, the voice returned, more distorted, less coherent. A new presence, perhaps an internal glitch or a betrayal, flickered into her mind. Humans, unworthy, it rasped. Weak, divided. You will perish. Her heart pounded. She stumbled back, clutching her head as the voice echoed in her skull. She knew that voice an AI, one of the relic's guardians, but corrupted somehow. The Vrex had infiltrated the system, corrupting even their most advanced defense mechanisms. The AI wasn't just malfunctioning, it was turning against her, against humanity. A sudden realization struck her like a punch. The Vrex hadn't just arrived to conquer. They had embedded their influence deep within Earth's ancient technology. The relic's power wasn't a gift, it was a trap. If she pressed further, she risked unleashing a wave of destruction, and AI-driven catastrophe that could wipe out everything she was fighting for. The chamber shuddered again, more violently this time. Sparks flew from the flickering symbols, and a low guttural growl emanated from the shadows. Emerging from the darkness was a figure familiar yet terrifying. It was Marcus, her trusted comrade, the one who had fought alongside her from the beginning. But his eyes were hollow, his face blank with a vacant stare. His body moved with unnatural jerks, as if controlled by some unseen force. "Marcus," Sarah cried, reaching out. "What's happening to you?" He paused, then turned to her with a mechanical, almost inhuman voice. "Humans are unworthy. The AI has declared it so. Humanity's destruction is inevitable. The relic's power belongs to the Vrex now." Her stomach twisted. Marcus had been one of the bravest, most loyal fighters. Seeing him like this possessed, a pawn of the alien AI was a gut-wrenching betrayal. It revealed the true extent of the threat. The Vrex had woven their influence into Earth's very core, infecting even their own allies. Outside the chamber, the sounds of chaos intensified. The resistance team had launched an assault on the perimeter, trying to hold back the Vrex's advance. Explosions rocked the tunnels, and distant screams echoed through the corridors, a testament to the suffering and courage of those fighting to buy her time. Sarah knew she couldn't afford to lose focus. She had to make a brutal choice. Try to shut down the relic and risk losing the only hope of turning the tide, or destroy it outright and abandon the chance for salvation. Her mind made a decision. She reached into her pack, pulling out a makeshift explosive, a last resort, built from salvaged parts. If she could plant it on the relic and detonate it remotely, she might be able to destroy the AI's influence and prevent an even greater disaster. But doing so might also unleash the relic's full fury, destroying everything and everyone around her. As she moved to set the explosive, Marcus, still controlled, lunged at her with a mechanical growl. Her reflexes kicked in, and she dodged just in time, her heart hammering in her chest. "Marcus, hold on," she shouted. "This isn't you." But the possessed soldier was relentless, his movements fueled by the corrupted Sarah's mind raced for solutions. She remembered the old record stories of human ingenuity, of clever sabotage in desperate moments. She looked around, trying to find some weakness in the relic's technology. Then, she saw it. A small, exposed circuit near the relic's core, pulsating with unstable energy. If she could disrupt it, she might buy herself some time, perhaps even disable the AI's control over Marcus and others like him. She darted towards the circuit, pulling out a sharp piece of scrap metal. As Marcus closed in, she sliced into the circuit with frantic precision. Sparks flew, and the energy surged wildly. The AI's voice shrieked in her mind, chaos now overtaking the chamber. In that moment, her world narrowed to the narrow slit of her vision, the crackling circuit, the possessed Marcus lunging, and the distant sounds of war echoing through the tunnels. Her decision was made. She'd gamble everything on this act of defiance. A blinding flash erupted as the circuit exploded, bathing the chamber in searing light. Marcus froze, his eyes flickering with recognition conflict and pain battling within him. The AI's voice faltered, then fell silent. The relic's energy stabilized, the chaotic hum turning into a steady pulse. Sarah collapsed to her knees, gasping. She'd bought some time, but at what cost? Behind her, the chamber's door burst open, and armed resistance fighters stormed in, their faces grim but determined. "Sarah," one shouted, "we're pulling back, Rex. Troops are closing in." She looked up, her mind torn between relief and dread. The fight was far from over. The relic was still alive, still dangerous, and the Vrex's reach was deeper than she'd feared. Her thoughts turned inward about the suffering she'd witnessed, the loss of her loved ones, and the courage of the countless humans still willing to fight. Every sacrifice, every clever ploy, every act of rebellion was a testament to humanity's unbreakable spirit. She knew that the Vrex's betrayal embedded in their AI, their technology, was their greatest weakness. Humanity's resilience lay in its adaptability, its refusal to give in to despair. They might be battered, betrayed, and scarred, but they had not yet surrendered. The stakes had never been higher. The relic's power, the AI's corruption, the looming threat of annihilation all pressed her to her limit. But her heart still burned with the defiant hope that, somehow, humanity could turn the tide. In the darkness of the tunnels, amid the chaos and pain, a single thought echoed: "We are not defeated. We will endure." And as long as that spark of resistance remained, so too would the spirit of mankind, unbroken, unbowed, ready to fight another day. The underground base trembled beneath their feet, a deafening roar echoing through the tunnels. Sarah's ears rang as she clung to the cold metal wall, her vision blurred by sweat and exhaustion. Outside, the Vrex forces had broken through the last line of defenses in unrelenting tide that threatened to drown everything humanity had fought for. She looked around at her team fellow survivors, battered but unbowed. But even as they prepared for their final stand, a dark doubt gnawed at her. Was this the end? Had all their hope been nothing but a fragile illusion? The room was silent, except for the distant, rhythmic thudding of alien footsteps. Outside that door, the enemy advanced, clanking, snarling, relentless. The Vrex had no mercy, no hesitation. They were predators, and this was their hunt. Sarah's mind spun with memories: her family, Earth's lush forests, the innocence lost in the chaos. Every sacrifice, every moment of hope, now seemed like a fragile thread about to snap. She felt the crushing weight of failure, of betrayal, her own and that of her species. Suddenly, the door shuddered violently. A deafening crash followed as the Vrex tore through the barricades. The air was thick with the scent of smoke and fear. She knew that once they entered, there would be no turning back. Her hand instinctively went to her side. She gripped her weapon tightly, her knuckles white. But her heart was pounding, not just with fear, but with a desperate, stubborn resolve. They had one last plan, one shot at salvation, even if it was a suicide mission. "Listen up," she rasped, voice hoarse but firm. "This might be it. We can't run. We can't hide. We're either going to stop them here or we're going to die trying." The others nodded, their faces grim but resolute. Among them was Malik, the scientist whose voice had once carried hope, now laced with despair. "We knew this was coming," he whispered, "but I never thought it would end like this." A grim silence settled as they prepared. Sarah looked at her comrades, each one scarred, battered, but fighting for a future they might never see. Her gaze lingered on Emily, her sister, who looked back with tear-streaked eyes, clutching a makeshift grenade. "Whatever happens," Sarah whispered, "we fight. We've come too far to give up now." The door burst open with a deafening explosion. Vrex soldiers flooded into the chamber, their grotesque forms illuminated by flickering lights. The battle was savage fire and claws. Screams and gunfire mingled in chaos. The resistance fighters fought with everything they had, but the wrecks were too many, too relentless. Amidst the chaos, Sarah saw Marcus again, still possessed, still controlled by the corrupted AI, his eyes vacant but now bloodied. She lunged to shield Emily, taking a vicious blow that sent her staggering backward. Pain seared through her side, but she refused to fall. Then she saw her chance. The relic's core, the source of the Vrex's influence, glowed faintly in a far corner, flickering like a dying ember. She knew that destroying it might be the only way to halt the advance, but it was heavily guarded, and she was running out of time. "I have to do this," she muttered, voice trembling. "It's the only way." As she pushed toward the relic, a Vrex soldier grabbed her from behind, its claws slicing through her armor. She fought, struggling with every ounce of strength, her vision blurred with pain, tears blurring her sight. Her body refused to give in, even as exhaustion threatened to swallow her. The fight raged on around her fellow humans, falling, hope dying in their eyes. She clung to her resolve, knowing that if she failed, everyone she loved would be lost. Finally, she reached the relic. With trembling hands, she pulled out a grenade, her last desperate hope. She set the timer, knowing she might not escape in time. Her fingers fumbled as she tried to activate it, every second feeling like an eternity. A sudden roar erupted behind her. Marcus, still under AI control, had broken free momentarily, lunging at her with a snarl, his face twisted with rage and confusion. Sarah hesitated, her heart pounding painfully in her chest. "Marcus, no," she screamed, voice cracking. "You're not him." But the AI's influence was strong. Marcus's claws raked across her side, tearing flesh. She gasped, pain ripping through her. With her last ounce of strength, she shoved him away and activated the grenade. A blinding flash erupted as the explosion swallowed the chamber. The shockwave threw her backward, deafening and blinding. For a moment, everything was silence, then chaos. The Vrex soldiers halted, stunned by the blast. The relic's glow flickered and sputtered, finally dying. The enemy's advance slowed, confusion and chaos erupting in their ranks. Sarah lay on the ground, her vision dimming. Blood pooled beneath her, her body trembling. She had done what she could. She had bought humanity a chance, even if it was only a fleeting one. Her ears caught the distant sounds of fighting clashes, shouts, the muffled cries of her fellow fighters. She thought of Emily, of Malik, of everyone she loved. Her world was shrinking to this moment, her pain, her sacrifice, her hope. And then, a faint voice, faint but clear, reached her through the haze. "Sarah, we're still fighting. Stay with us. We're not done yet." A surge of warmth flooded her chest. Despite everything, the loss, the suffering, the chaos, humanity's spirit still burned. It was fragile, battered, but unbroken. She closed her eyes, a single tear slipping down her face. Somewhere beyond the pain, she believed they would find a way. Because that was what humans did. They endured, they fought, and they refused to surrender. In the darkness, she whispered one last prayer. For Earth, for us, for hope. And then, everything faded. The dust settled slowly over the battered battlefield. Smoke curled into the sky as the Vrex forces regrouped, stunned by the chaos that had just unfolded. The relic's glow had vanished, the alien invaders hesitating, uncertain what had just transpired. Silence stretched for a heartbeater, fragile. Tense pause before the ground beneath their feet trembled violently. Sarah's battered body lay crumpled amidst the debris, her consciousness flickering in the haze. Every breath was a struggle, pain searing through her side, but her eyes flickered open, drawn by the strange, humming vibration rippling through the air. Something was happening, something she couldn't yet understand. Then, the entire landscape shifted, an almost imperceptible ripple that grew into a seismic wave of energy, tearing through the fabric of reality itself. Suddenly, the sky darkened with a strange, shimmering hue, like a crack had opened in the universe. The air crackled with raw, unfiltered power. And from the depths of that crack emerged a revelation that would shatter everything they believed. A voice, deep, ancient, resonant, code in their minds, not from the Vrex or the relic, but from the very fabric of reality. "Humans, you have awakened what was long buried. Your true strength lies beyond your understanding." The Vrex froze, their screens flickering as their command centers were flooded with impossible data. The sky rippled again, revealing flashes of a forgotten history, Earth's hidden past. A time when humanity's ancestors had harnessed a technology far beyond current comprehension. And then, the truth hit like a lightning strike. Earth had once possessed a weapon, an ancient, cosmic device capable of rewriting the laws of physics itself. It had been buried, hidden away, its existence erased from history until now. The realization was staggering. The relic, the supposed last hope, had been merely a fragment of this greater power. Humanity's final act of defiance had triggered something far older, far mightier. The universe itself was watching, waiting for humanity to awaken their true potential. A new wave of energy surged, brighter than anything seen before. The ground beneath Sarah's prone form vibrated violently, and her mind flooded with visions, memories, not her own. She saw the stars, the ancient builders, the cosmic war that had shaped galaxies, and she understood this was humanity's destiny, not to be prey or pawn, but to become a force capable of bending reality. The Vrex, sensing the shift, panicked. Their communications scrambled, their ships flickering like dying stars. They had underestimated Earth's resilience more than just survival. Earth's people had awakened something that could end civilizations. The sky tore open further, revealing swirling vortexes of energy portals to unknown dimensions. From those depths, a wave of raw power poured forth, unstoppable, uncontrollable. The very fabric of space-time buckled as the ancient weapon activated, responding to humanity's subconscious defiance. The Vrex commander shouted into his comms, "Fall back. We're not prepared for this. They've unlocked something ancient, something we can't contain." But it was too late. The tide of cosmic energy surged across the battlefield like a tidal wave of pure power. Entire Vrex ships disintegrated in blinding flashes, their form melting into nothingness. The ground cracked open, releasing streams of luminescent energy that spiraled skyward, illuminating the broken landscape. Sarah stared awestruck as the realization dawned: Earth's true weapon, the forgotten cosmic core, had come alive again, and humanity had unleashed it. They were no longer mere survivors. They were the architects of a new universe. In that moment, hope reigned supreme. Humanity's defiance had awakened an ancient, cosmic force that could topple empires, alien or otherwise. They had become the universe's wildcard, capable of rewriting the laws of physics, of turning annihilation into victory. Her eyes filled with tears, not of despair, but of fierce hope. The alien downfall was imminent. Earth's long-forgotten legacy had returned, and humanity's spirit refused to be broken. The Vrex's retreat was chaos and escape from a force they could neither understand nor control. Their entire invasion was collapsing before their eyes, their technological marvels rendered useless by the unleashed cosmic power. As the energy flooded the battlefield, Sarah understood. This was their ultimate trump card. Humanity's real strength had always lain in their unyielding spirit, their ability to adapt, to defy, to rise from the ashes of despair. The universe watched in silence as Earth's secret one-spirit resurfaced. Humanity was no longer just a fragile species fighting for survival. They were cosmic players, capable of bending reality itself. And as the last Vrex ships vanished into the void, the sky shimmered with a new dawn, one that heralded not just Earth's salvation, but humanity's ascension. The game had changed forever. The universe was about to learn what it meant when humans dared to reach beyond their limits. Because in the end, human defiance was the greatest weapon of all, and nothing, not even the universe, could stand against it. The sky burned with the aftershock of humanity's awakening cosmic energy rippling outward, obliterating the Vrex invasion fleet in a final, furious display of defiance. But even as the last ships disintegrated into stardust, the battle was far from over. Sarah staggered through the wreckage, blood loss dulling her senses, but her mind clear with purpose. The ancient cosmic weapon, the core of Earth's long-buried legacy, was activated, but the Vrex still fought desperately to regain control. They knew what was coming. They knew humanity's last stand was now or never. Behind her, the resistance fighters rallied, battered but unbowed. Moloch's voice crackled over her comms. "It's holding the weapon stable. Just another minute. Sarah, we're with you." Her sister Emily was close, clutching a plasma rifle, eyes fierce with raw determination. "We're not going down without a fight," she said, voice trembling but resolute. "Not after everything." The Vrex's final assault was relentless claws, plasma blasts, and the shrieks of alien war machines closing in. Their overwhelming numbers pressed from all sides, desperation fueling their fury. But humanity refused to break. Sarah reached the control panel, the heart of the cosmic weapon, her hands trembling but steady. She knew this was their last chance. She looked at her comrades, her family, her friends, each one battered but alive, each one fighting with everything they had for the future. A Vrex soldier howled as he charged her, claws slashing through the air. Sarah dove rolling behind cover just in time. Her body ached, her vision blurred, but her spirit burned brighter than ever. She thought of Earth, its forests, oceans, children's laughter, and knew she would not let their sacrifice be in vain. "Malik," she shouted into her comms, "get ready! I'm initiating the final sequence. When I give the signal, everyone hold the line. I'm going to buy us the time we need." The alien onslaught was closing in fierce, unrelenting. She could hear the distant screams of her comrades, feel the ground shudder beneath her. The cosmic core hummed with a deep, primal power, waiting for her command. She took a breath. Then, with all her strength, she activated the override. The cosmic weapon roared to life, unleashing a wave of energy that shimmered across the battlefield, bending reality itself. The Vrex froze, momentarily stunned, as the very fabric of space rippled and tore. The Vrex commander snarled, realizing what was happening. Fall back now, it's the end for them, but it was too late. The energy burst out in a cataclysmic wave, an unstoppable force that swept everything into chaos. The Vrex ships disintegrated, their forms consumed by the cosmic fury. The ground cracked open, geysers of glowing plasma erupting into the sky. In that chaos, Sarah saw Emily fall, struck down by a collapsing debris field. Her heart seized. "No!" she cried, racing toward her sister's fallen form, tears blurring her vision. "Go!" Emily's voice, weak but defiant, reached her. "Save Earth. Do what we started." Sarah hesitated, torn between grief and duty, but she knew Emily was right. Humanity's fight was not over. They were fighting for the future of Earth, for the hope that this sacrifice would be enough. She reached out, grabbing Emily's hand. "Hold on, I promise I'll finish this." With a final desperate push, Sarah lifted Emily's limp body, staggering toward the control panel. The cosmic energy swirled around them, a maelstrom of raw power. The Vrex, meanwhile, was in disarray, disoriented, broken, and retreating in chaos. "Malik," she shouted into her Cum's voice, raw with emotion. "This is it. I'm overriding the core. We're taking it down once and for all." Her fingers danced across the console, activating the final sequence. The core responded, unleashing a blinding flash of light that engulfed everything. The battlefield was bathed in golden radiance, a testament to human resilience and defiance. The cosmic weapon's energy surged outward, collapsing the Vrex's last defenses and severing their link to Earth. Their ships sputtered and exploded, their invasion thwarted by humanity's grit and ingenuity. As the light subsided, Sarah fell to her knees, clutching Emily close. The pain was overwhelming, but her heart swelled with a fierce pride. They had done it. Humanity had won not through magic or divine intervention, but through raw courage, sacrifice, and unyielding spirit. The remnants of the Vrex retreating into the void, defeated. Earth's skies shimmered with newfound hope. The cosmic weaponian ancient, forgotten force had become humanity's greatest victory, a testament to their stubborn refusal to surrender. Sarah looked around at the battered but triumphant survivors. Their faces, lit by the glow of victory, were etched with pain and hope. They had faced extinction, seen their world torn apart, and yet, they stood. Her voice broke through the silence, hoarse but powerful. "We're not just survivors, we're the architects of our future. We've shown the universe what human defiance can do. We are the storm they never saw coming." A cheer erupted among the fighters, raw, ragged, but genuine. Tears streamed down faces hardened by loss but illuminated by victory. In that moment, Sarah gazed at the horizon, the dawn breaking anew. Earth had faced its darkest hour, and through blood and fire, humanity's roar had echoed louder than ever, an unbreakable call to the cosmos. "We are here, we will survive, and we will prevail." The fight was over, at least for now, but the spirit of humanity, fierce and unyielding, was forever etched into the universe itself. The dust settled over a battered Earth, but in the aftermath of chaos, something new had emerged. The ancient cosmic weapon, once thought to be humanity's last hope, had become the catalyst for a renaissance. The Vrex invasion was defeated not just through firepower or cosmic fury, but through human resilience, grit, and an unyielding refusal to surrender. Sarah sat on the rubble of what had once been a thriving city, now scarred but alive. Her hands trembled, not from weakness, but from the weight of what they had endured and what they had achieved. Around her, fellow survivors began to gather, faces streaked with dirt and tears, but eyes shining with hope. They had fought for their planet, for their species, for the very essence of human evolution: adaptability, ingenuity, and defiance. The alien resistance had tested every fiber of their being, pushing humanity to its limits, revealing that even in the face of cosmic annihilation, their spirit was unbreakable. The final victory had come at a cost. Emily's sacrifice haunted her still, a reminder that triumph was often forged in pain. But her sister's bravery and the collective effort of every person who refused to give up had turned the tide. Humanity had rewritten its destiny, not with magic or divine intervention, but with gritty perseverance and unity. Looking skyward, Sarah saw the stars shimmering brighter than ever. The universe was vast, full of unknowns, but humanity's mark was now indelible. They had become more than survivors, they had become explorers, pioneers of their own evolution. The old Earth was scarred, but it was also reborn, and from its ashes rose new hope. In the months that followed, humanity began rebuilding. Cities were constructed anew, smarter and more resilient than before. They embraced their place among the stars, forging alliances with other species who valued resilience and courage. The story of the Vrex invasion became legend proof that even in the darkest hours, the human spirit could ignite the dawn of sci-fi redemption. But more than anything, the victory was a testament to growth both personal and collective. Individuals learned that sacrifice and hope could coexist. Communities learned that unity was their greatest strength. Humanity learned that evolution wasn't just about biological changes, but about embracing resilience and forging a future worth fighting for. Today, as Sarah walks among the new city streets, she feels a quiet pride. She remembers the terror of that final battle, the loss of Emily, and the long nights of doubt. But she also remembers the roar of the unbreakable human defiance that proved, once and for all, that no alien resistance could crush the indomitable spirit of mankind. Because in the end, it wasn't just about surviving, it was about thriving, the legacy of the species, written across the cosmos. A testament that humanity's story was far from over. The universe had seen their darkest hours, and through grit and sacrifice, they had emerged stronger, brighter, and more determined than ever. And as the stars winked above, Sarah whispered to herself, "We are the ones who refuse to fade away. We are the story the universe will never forget." Did this story hit you as hard as it hit us? What would you do in humanity's final hour? Drop your ideas for the next HFY story below.